So something very interesting about when I was single, especially as a Christian single, was my worry when certain kind of guys asked me out or talked to me or sought out interest in me. In my mind, I used to be like, what about me is attracting you? Why do you think I'm your type? Like, in English, what play is the lion playing with the dog? Or you can say, what has light got to do with darkness? And this is not being proud or something. This didn't come from pride. It was just a very sincere look into inwards. Like, why exactly am I attracting this kind of person? Why does this kind of person think that I would be with them? Why does this person think that I would like to go to the club with them? Why does this person think that we would sex talk, or sex text, all sorts of things, during my single days. I went through it. So I can understand when certain people say that maybe there's a reason why I'm attracting certain kind of people. Especially my women. I'm talking to women in this video. Why you're attracting certain kind of men. So in this video, we're going to talk about it. Yeah. How to stop attracting the wrong men. Those men that you don't like, that keep coming for you. There's a reason. Let's talk about it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fadekemi. If you're new here, welcome. So let's get into the video. So one of the things that you must know as a person is that you have to have a value system. Whether you're seeking a relationship or not, having a value system as a person helps you even in your career, in your life as a whole, in your spirituality, in your relationships, the kind of friendships that you even form. Having a value system is so important. And I know someone's going to be like, how? But yeah, that's how it is. Because if you have a value system, you already know what to say no to and what to say yes to. You're not going to be overthinking it. Like, you already know that this one is not for me. When a man says you do certain things, when a man is coming at you with certain conversations, you already say, no, this is against my value system. This is against my belief, integrity, my objectivity, all those kind of things. Now, on that note, I'm going to give you guys the second point. The second point as a person, because now I'm going to relate it to relationships. As a person, as a single woman out there seeking a relationship in the future, marriage, you should have negotiables and non-negotiables. So what do we mean by negotiables and non-negotiables? So on one side, the negotiables are things that, okay, you can still pardon. You don't like it, but you know that the person can change. Even though they always say people cannot change, but there are certain things that somebody can change, somebody can learn, right? So you can overlook it, right? But your non-negotiables, you cannot overlook it. You cannot just bend that rule. It is what it is. It is who you are. It is what you cannot accept, right? So as a person, you have to sit and ask yourself, what are my non-negotiables? For example, as a Christian, you can have a non-negotiable as a Christian woman and say, my number one non-negotiable is I cannot marry someone who's not a Christian, a believer, right? That's already number one, because even scripture has already told you that be not unequally yoked. So, but some people now, that's not a non-negotiable for them. And they're Christians, right? They will say, even some Christian men, they are worse than some Muslim men or some traditional men. I beg, leave religion. Let's look for a kind man. And I'm like, yo, it's better to marry a kind man that you know that is a Christian than a kind man that is not, you're not sure of what his allegiance is, because that's dangerous. So yeah, that's one. Another person can say, my non-negotiable is I cannot marry a Catholic. Another person can say, oh, I don't mind marrying a Catholic as long as they shall believe in Jesus. Another person can say, I don't mind marrying a Jehovah's Witness. They shall believe in Jesus, right? So non-negotiables are important. Have non-negotiables, have negotiables, right? Another one can be, for example, I don't believe, you can say, my non-negotiable is you must be a church-going believer. You can't just say, oh, I'm a believer and you don't go to church. And another person will be like, as long as he's a Christian, men are scarce. So that one for them is a negotiable. They can negotiate it. They don't mind. They will say, oh, my non-negotiable is I can't marry a Christian, someone that's not a Christian. But if he doesn't go to church, no problem. I'll take him to my church. Once you have that, there are conversations you start to have with the person. And this leads me to my third point. Be discerning and Let me never use the word discerning so it doesn't look spiritual. Be wise, be suspecting, be curious, be observant. Many people are not observant, so they miss out on the clues that God is showing them. So you're saying, oh God, show me the signs, show me the signs, but you're missing it out when God is showing you. For example, you say your non-negotiable is a man must be a church-going believer. He must belong to a local assembly. Now you were having a conversation with him, and then you tell him that, oh, what's up, what are you doing this Sunday? And he says, I'm not doing anything, I'm just going to be chilling at home. The next week you have a conversation with him again, and he tells you, oh, maybe you people are talking, and then he says, oh, all these church things, I'm not really into church like that. Gang. The third week he says something again, oh, I have to go and pick up my mom, and you're like, did you go to church? And he's like, I'll go next week, or I streamed online. You already know. So 1 month he has not really gone to a church. That means he's not committed to any local church. The problem is not the fact that he has not gone to church, that he's not committed. So he doesn't even have a pastor over him. That's the meaning. If you're observant, you would have noticed by certain behaviors, conversations, things. There are some things that, like I always say, that yes, talk before you get married. Talk before you date somebody and all that. In your dating phase, talk, communicate, fine. But there are some things that you will not talk. You will see. So that kind of thing you will see. So he will tell you that he's a Christian. You say, oh, I go to Redeem. Redeem is the one church that everybody goes to. So he will tell you, oh, I go to Redeem. But does his pastor know him? Does his youth pastor know him? Does anybody in the church know him? And he goes to Redeem. Does that make sense? Another point I want to say is, what kind of person are you? And it takes me back to value system. Why it is important that you know the kind of person you are is that only a real person will find a fake. Right? Let me give you an example. If you take a Nigerian currency, as someone that has been with Nigerian currency for a long time, I'm very sure if you carry a fake 500 naira note, you will know that it's a fake 500 naira note. But if you're with a $1,000, I don't know, okay, $100, I think there's $100. If you're with a $100 note that is fake, if you're not familiar, I'm not familiar with the dollar notes, right? I just changed dollar, that's all. I don't even look at it. If you're not familiar with dollar notes, you may not be able, it's not even you cannot tell when you're holding a fake dollar note. So someone can spend monopoly money for you and you go no. So it is important that as a person, you are familiar with the kind of personality that you want to be. You are familiar with what you want, what you are. You have to be able to become. You have to be that person that you're seeking in another person. So for you to recognize a fake, you will be real yourself. So the only way to recognize someone that is not for you, that is wrong for you, is if you yourself, you are right standing, you know what you want, you are that person. And as you guys can see, I've never even put in, oh, pray about the person yet. I'm just allowing you guys to see even the normal basic things that you should know even before you pray about somebody, right? So as a person, what kind of person are you? The kind of person you are will determine if you can recognize. So real recognize real, and that's on period. Okay, it's a fact. If you're not real, you will not be able to recognize fake when you see one. So what kind of person are you? What kind of spirituality do you have? Who are the people that are your friends? You know, all those things matter. If you don't have spiritual friends, if you've not grown, if you're not planted in a church, you're not committed to doing things, then how will you meet the right person? This brings me to my next point. My next point is, are you committed in your local assembly? Are you a service person? Not only in your local assembly, but it's the things of God. Many people have met people that are for them while they were right in the middle of the thing, doing the thing that God has asked them to do. Are you right at the center of the will of God for your life? Are you doing what God has asked you to do? If you're doing that, you will be meeting the right kind of people. If you look around your local church, there are many Christian fine boys. But no, is that man outside that you're not sure of the spirituality that you want, because, oh, Christian boys, they are scam. At least do Christian boy first. Let him be scam, but do him. But Christian boys are not scam. Okay? I married one. But yeah, like in the midst of doing the will of God, you would meet the one. You would find the one. In the midst of service, in the midst of working, in the midst of just staying in the place. When I say doing the will of God or doing the work of God, it doesn't only mean that being an usher or being a choir member. It could be when God told you, okay, go and give supplies to children, or in the midst of, making a YouTube video. Just anything, just doing what God, staying where God has planted you will allow you to attract the right man for you. Leads me to my next point. Stop being desperate. The reason why you're attracting the wrong man is because you are too desperate for a relationship. Every time, God when, God when, God when, God now. Some people have changed from God when to God now. God, I can't wait again. God is okay. It's okay. It's enough. You need to stop being desperate to meet the right person, because when you're not desperate, when you're not overly about getting married and meeting the person, you're more likely to meet and be more objective, right? It's so important. Another point, so many points, you guys. Another point is surround yourself with believers. Go to believers event. They will say, youth, wait for a meeting after service. You will run home. How do you want to meet the right person? Hang out with believers, have be interested in things that your local church is doing. Please ignore the noise. Be interested, hang out with other believers, have fun. The kind of places you are going to will determine who you are attracting. And the way you are looking to going to those places, how you're dressed. Remember, they say dress how you want to be addressed. And I know this is a conversation that many people in this our generation don't want to have. We're always like, oh, don't judge me. But there's a certain way you dress that someone cannot tell you. Obviously, nobody's spirituality is written all over their face, and that's a fact. So you have to give people room to actually judge you by how you dress. Because if I see someone, for example, if I see someone in an hijab, I already think they're a Muslim, and that's the truth, right? So don't be like, oh, don't judge me. I will not judge you only when I've known you. I've known you for a long time. But if I don't know you, if I see you looking a certain kind of way, I'm sorry, I would most likely address you in that way. And I'm not talking about maybe wearing of trousers and all of that. I'm talking about just looking decent, in a way. Look decent enough to attract the right kind of man. And of course, it's not totally obtainable. Some people don't look decent and they attract the kind of man. I stand corrected, I guess. Okay, so and my final point would definitely be surround yourself with great accountability and great marriage stories, relationship stories. It's important that we are surrounded by these stories because they will just keep reminding us of what is possible to achieve in our own relationships. So if you are surrounding yourself with stories of love, of how people that have given themselves to just great marriage stories, the kind of people you're following on social media, all those things will help you to believe that your goals, your dreams, your aspirations for your marriage is possible, and you can easily tell when someone is not right for you. I hope that with this point of mine, I'll be able to convince you and not confuse you. Please comment below what you think. Any lessons you learned from this video, list 5 points below, and you're going to get something special from me. It could be a kiss. Yes, list 5 points that you have learned from this video. Comment below and let me know your thoughts on this video. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.